First, let's welcome Rona Watson, who provides spiritual care services here at Novant Health Brunswick Medical Center. Rona, thank you so much for sharing your time and talents with us today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, June, for giving me this opportunity. This is very exciting to be sitting here beside the great June Baker.
Oh, yeah, right. Okay, Rona. Now I'm blushing. So, tell me, how do you get started in being a chaplain? How does that happen? I want our viewers to get to know you a little better. So tell me how you got to where you are.
Well, I think first of all, for me, personally, I've just always had this innate drive to ease the suffering of this world, right? So that coupled with the ability to see it, right? Because a lot of us can afford to just be able to look past some of the suffering in this world, which is what we do to get through it. But for me, it's just a gift, I call it now, to have that desire to want to ease the suffering of this world. And
But what kind of education do you need to get to that point?
So starting with the gift first, right? Because someone once said that anybody can take a picture, but not everyone can develop the film. Right? So how do we get to the point to where we can develop the film or to become a chaplain, right? And so it starts out with a master's degree in divinity. Then there is a 2-year residency that you do with a hospital that is offering clinical pastoral education. And then you go through and you can volunteer with hospitals, with hospice, with agencies in the area. But it does start with that foundation of having a master's in divinity and that foundation of going through the clinical pastoral education classes with an accredited institution.
Good information. I didn't know all that. Well, how long have you been a chaplain with Novant Health?
Today, here at Novant Health Brunswick Medical Center, today is my 1-month anniversary.
Nice.
All right, yay. Okay, and then, so I've been with New Hanover Regional Medical Center for over 15 years.
Really?
For over 15 years.
I didn't know that, Rona.
Yep, over 15 years I've been there. Yes, and so what got me here, so the journey to here, I started out my residency at New Hanover Regional Medical Center. And at that time, we did not have staff chaplains. So you can volunteer as a chaplain there, and that's what I did. I volunteered for a few years. I became a chaplain with the Wilmington Police Department for a few years. Then I went to hospice care, so I was a chaplain for a hospice agency. And then it was time at New Hanover where we began to have PRN chaplains, as needed chaplains. And from there, I was hired as a staff chaplain with New Hanover. So.
Wow, that's a great journey. And we're so glad you ended up at Brunswick Medical Center.
I am grateful. I am grateful. Very grateful.
So tell me about your role and the mission of spiritual care inside a hospital. What does that look like?
So with Novant Health, we want remarkable. So we want remarkable spiritual care. All right. And so with that in mind, the spiritual care department with Novant Health Spiritual Care Department, we want compassionate presence, we want courageous conversations, and we want meaningful connections while we're on this journey of life. And so what it looks like, that compassionate presence, June, we don't all volunteer to come to the hospital and be in a room. We don't sign up for, I'm going to be under the weather, I'm going to be sick to the point of needing to be in the hospital on this date, right? And so what happens when there's a patient at the hospital is innately life interrupted, right? So it's life interrupted. So they're in this space and in this place that because of something that happened most of the time out of their control, right?
Right.
And so they're at their space and place of vulnerability. And so one of the things that we do as chaplains is we go into that space and allow that person that is in that point of vulnerability to know that they are not in it alone.
Yeah.
Just to know that they are not in it alone.
I want to kind of move on to end of life. I imagine that you get involved in a lot of conversations surrounding healthcare choices and about care involving end of life issues. So, how do you bring that topic up? Is it usually brought up by the patient or the family member? And how do you navigate that?
Well, we have this now at Novant Health, and maybe for many years now, we've had Choices and Champions.
Right.
Right. And so we partner with Choices and Champions who really help to navigate or to facilitate, actually, the healthcare power of attorneys and the advanced directives. So working along with the care team, because chaplains are a part of the care team, the spiritual care department is a part of the interdisciplinary team. Usually when a patient enters into the hospital, there are a list of questions that are asked, and within that list of questions, it's asking about, do you have the healthcare power of attorney or a living will? If the answer to that is no, would you like more information? If your answer to that is yes, I would like more information, then there is a consult that is put in, and we are asked to go and see the patient just to give them more information if they need the education materials. And so generally that's usually most of the time how the conversation begins. And then we just explain the healthcare power of attorney and the living wills. There are times and instances where the patient and family, they are uncomfortable having this conversation. And so what I say to them is, it's just important to have the conversation.
Right.
Just have the conversation.
I know that you deal a lot with sorrow, with a lot of joys. We have babies born. We have grandparents who pass away. And I know you deal with it. How do you personally remain uplifting and see the bright side of things? How do you maintain that from a personal perspective?
It actually starts with appreciation. It starts with appreciation. This drive that I have, and now I call it a gift, I have to say it that way now, to help. I just want to help. And so I am afforded the opportunity with great appreciation to enter into a space and a place of vulnerability, and to be able to help you traverse this journey that you're on. And so how it helps me is that I'm just appreciative, because you don't have to do it. You don't have to welcome me. You don't have to. And so that appreciation. And then there are times when I scream and I yell and I dance and jump up and down on the bed and all those other things. But I'll give you the short answer.
You have a great smile, and you're always so upbeat. And that's sometimes it's hard to be that way, especially if you've been sick and for a long time, for a long period of time. So something like that. And do you have one or two words of advice for family members or patients who are going through some hardships or whatever? What is it that you like to stress to them?
Breathe.
Breathe.
I think if there was one word, it would be breathe. And the reason I would say breathe is because breathing is something we all must do. Right? We all must do. So just breathing, it causes that connection with the entire world, because everybody has to do that. And then when you breathe, you take a moment to know, okay, I'm breathing, so I'm still here. I may be in pain, but I'm still here. I know this chaos might be happening, but I'm still here. I know that with my family member, there's impending death, but I'm still here. Right. And so even when we talk about end of life, we're really not talking about the best way to die. We're talking about the best way to live and all of that. Yeah. So I would say breathe and remember that you're still alive.
Yeah. Before we close, do you have a special mantra or a motto that you live by?
Okay, so Sa'ubona, all right? Sa'ubona in Zimbabwe means I see you. And I always like to use that word because for me, in that language, it's just saying hello, right? But what it means on that deeper level is, I see you.
I see you.
I see you, which just means wherever you are, even if you think you're by yourself, I see you. And wherever you are, I know that excellence is taking place, so I see you. And wherever you are, if I hear or I say Sa Ubona, that means I get to be there too.
Yeah.
So I see you.
Rona, thank you so much for being here. You've made me feel better,
Oh.
and I'm sure you make our patients feel better. So thank you for all you do for our patients and our community. And it was a pleasure to have you.
Thank you. It was a pleasure being here. Thank you, thank you, thank you.